Hello, my name is Joaquin Garzón. I'm solution engineer at Nuxeo, and today I'm going to explain how to manage translation in Web UI, the user interface provided by Nuxeo. We are going to start with a basic example of a custom document type called client, which stems from file and can be created under folders and workspaces. It has associated schema with three fields: handler, which is a directory, and name and surname, which are both strings. The next step is just go to View Designer and create the default layout for the creation form of this document type. We can see the preview and the source code that has been scaffolded for us using the schema field names as input labels. So if we just save and deploy our changes, we will see how it has worked. Okay, once that our changes has been applied, we can go to a folder, clients, and just try to create a new document type. We can see here there is a label that has not been translated. We will see this later. But now we see that all the fields in the form are in English, and it's okay, but we want to support other languages, for example, French. So we are going to make some changes in our project just to support the default language, in this case, English, and a second one, for example, French. So we must come back to View Designer, and in the first thing that we are going to do is just select the UI tab and click on the translation menu. We must click on the Add button just to create a new message, the .json file, which will contain the default translation. This file is just a JSON file. So we must add the labels that we want to use. For example, label document type .client. This is for the document type name. And we are going to add also labels for the field names. So we can put name, surname, and handler. And save. We are going to copy because we are going to use the same structure and labels just to add a new method file for French. In this case, we are going to add the language code and paste the previous one in French. So we save, and now we must do a second step in our layout. So we came back to our creation form and replace this hard-coded text for calls to the method I18n, which is provided by this behavior, Nuxeo layout behavior. So we will, the labels that we have defined, title and description, are provided by default by Nuxeo. But the other labels that we are going to use are the labels that we have defined in the method.json file. Okay, first one, name, surname, we save, and we come back to our environment just to apply the changes. We can have a coffee. Meanwhile, the hot rod is applied. Okay, the changes have been applied. So we click on the add, and we see, for example, that previously we have here a label, and now we have the translation. So we select the client, and we see that we have here the translation for French, because my browser is currently configured with French as default language. So it's done. But what's happened here, for example, in the vocabulary? Oh, it's using the labels that we have defined in the vocabulary. So we must review this, because vocabularies are managed in a different way. We have defined this vocabulary. It's a simple vocabulary with only 2 entries, man and woman, and these labels. So we must create, we must go to the resource option and upload a file, a property file, which is a file called message language for the language and country, the language code and the language and the country code. And it looks like this: label.vocabulary.genders.man equals man in English, our default language, and like this in French. So we must upload the files. Don't forget to click on upload message, and we are going to upload also the default file for English. Once we have uploaded the file, we can see the content of the file. Even we can edit and modify using Nuxeo Studio. Oh, we have a encoding problem. Fix it. We save and we deploy the changes, just to see that right now we will have the right translation of our vocabulary. Okay, changes applied. We are going to see the vocabulary translated. Masculine, it has been translated to French. And this is the basic of translation in Nuxeo. We have seen how to translate schema fields and vocabularies, but we want to translate all the texts that are shown in the user interface. For example, if we want just to add a new label, we can go here and add our new label using the I18 method. For example, personal information. We are going to copy this just to use it later. So once it has been saved, we go to the message.json just to add the new label, the default language. We add the translation, personal information. And we are going to add also the translation in French. Okay, it's done. We have the translations. We come back to our instance, apply our changes using the new setup tools, hot reload option. Okay, our changes have been applied, so we can try to add a new client document, and we see our test has been translated as we said before. If we want to know which labels are provided by default by Nuxeo, so we can check in GitHub. There are a lot of labels provided by the system by default. This is the message.json, which provides the default translation for English, but there are also other languages supported by default, like German, Spanish, French, Italian, Japanese. If your language is not supported by default, you can provide your own translation, or even you can contribute to the Nuxeo translation in crowding.com. And that's all. Thanks for listening.